Let's come to this lot. The Vikings. The next thing. Anglo-Saxon conquest, Christianization, and then the Vikings. The next big thing in Anglo-Saxon England. So what happened? Again, the Anglo-Saxon Chronicle. The year usually given is 787. Här kommer erst tre schipu amfa se Girafa there to rad, and he wollte referred to thes Königes tune, því he niste huet he whereon. Hine mon ofslog. Dat whereon the ersten schipu denis gramonna the Anekunes land gesucht on. Let's translate this. In the year 1787, first came 3 ships. Okay. And then the sheriff, Girafa, so the highest official of the police, if you like, he rode there too, and he wanted to drive them to the king's town. There he niste. Niste means not wiste. He didn't know. He didn't know what they were. All right. Okay, that is straightforward. And then something happens. Hin mon ofslog. Him a man slew, if you like. Okay, not very nice. Hi, how are you? I want to bring you to the king. Both. That's that. That round the ersten Schippe Dennis Gramonna the Anekunes land gezochten. These were the first ships of Danish men that went to or sought out the land of the English. So, the year 787, those people land on the coast, and the first thing is what they do is kill the sheriff who comes to greet them. Okay, 787, this is the first Viking, first encounter with the Vikings. And if you look at that, this is a map of Europe in those days, and you see the Vikings, fierce tribes from the north, okay, Scandinavia, Denmark, what have you, that ransacked Europe in those days. Usually through the mouths of the rivers, they went inland and sacked the cities, plundering, pilfering. Even Cologne, if you look at that. Went through the Strait of Gibraltar, even into the Black Sea, the Danube, the Volga, all these things, and even set up a kingdom in the south of Italy and Sicily. Okay, and of course, if you look at here, yes, in England too, eventually. Okay, the Vikings. Let's have a next entry when the Viking age is in full swing, which is important for us. 793. Here weren Rathner for Baker coming over Northumberland. I mean, this means there were red signs in the heavens. That something terrible is going to happen. That form Armidji Breckdom, that weren omitted Thordenas and Lycaras. So there were thunders and there were lightnings and so on. And Fine Draken were in Jesene, 4 dragons were seen, on them lifte fleongende in the air, flying. Okay, so that is that. Very superstitious, forebodings that something was going to happen, something terrible. Okay. Tham taknum sona fylgede mutual hunger. Those signs were followed by a great famine, mutual hunger. Okay. People had little to eat. Little after that, la eamliche hefena manna hergung alle adilgode Gotteskirchen in Lindisfarne durch Reaflak and Manslicht. Little after that, miserable heathen men were harrying, if you like, or destroying God's church in Lindisfarne by plundering and manslaughter or something like this. This is so important because this is the date usually given for the destruction of Lindisfarne Cloister, the center of learning, probably in the northern world. And the destruction of the Lindisfarne Library had probably great repercussions, which we feel up to the present day, insofar as a lot of manuscripts were destroyed by the Vikings. And probably we would know more about the Dark Ages if it hadn't been for the Vikings sacking Lindisfarne. Important thing here is, I mean, it's very superstitious. There were signs in the heavens, thunders, dragons flying, and so on. Not very Christian here, but something terrible is going to happen. And yes, they came to Northumberland and destroyed Beda's cloister, if you like, Lindisfarne. Terrible thing. Okay. This is still what is left of Lindisfarne today, so may go there and visit. Okay. A few concepts I would like to talk about, which were important in those days. One is danegeld. Danegeld. Danegeld meaning it's the money you pay to the Danes. Danes and Vikings are very interchangeable. Usually the historical writings speak of the Danes, even if they come from Norway or what is today Sweden. Danegeld is the money you pay them that they leave. Okay, so imagine yourself, I mean, standing on the coast of, I don't know, East Anglia and seeing something like 100 black sails on the horizon. What you do is usually amass all the riches you have, meet them on shore and tell them, I mean, I give you that if you leave us alone. And this is the danegeld. You buy yourself, try to buy yourself off. Sometimes you are successful, sometimes not. I mean, sometimes they may take the money and go on plundering anyway, or take the money and come back next year. But danegeld, an important concept in those days. Okay, right. Another entry of the Anglo-Saxon Chronicle, which I would like to mention here, is for the year 855. Her heathene men erist on shipping, this is the art of shipping, over winter sat on, which means they, for the first time, remained over winter. And this is important insofar as that we see in the middle of the 9th century, they stay over winter. I mean, usually it came in summer, plundered, pilfered, and then left again. Now they are staying. And this is a new quality. And the year 855, right in the middle of the 9th century, the Vikings start to settle in England, at least according to the Anglo-Saxon Chronicles. We can see this if we look at Scandinavian place names. Derby, Thamesby, everything with B is of Scandinavian origin, which means village or town. Everything that has Thorpe or Throp in it. German Dorf, Thorpe, all that is village. Okay. Toft, yes, a plot of land covered with grass, East Toft, North Toft, and so on. Beck, another one of Scandinavian, and Ness too, Inverness, for example, which is a cape, and Thwaite, forest glade. But you see, the important thing is that you can, of course, identify Viking settlements by the place names, which they gave to their village, hamlet, whatever. And if you look at this map here, you see particularly, I mean, north of a line, something like the old Watling Street from London to Chester, something like that. And north of it, you have these Scandinavian settlements, and which you can still see up to the present day by looking at the place names. Right. Scandinavian influence on the Old English language is incredible. Because it's a big influence on the everyday vocabulary. We remember nothing Celtic, and the French vocabulary later on will be of a very high register. But here, everyday words, and look at those. Take, get, they, them, their, even pronouns are Scandinavian today. Window is husband, milk, skirt, egg, cake, steak, sky, run, want, die, and so on. So what you see here, they must have lived very close together with the indigenous population, traded, intermarried, something like that, because if you really exchange everyday words, as I said, even pronouns or verbs like take and get, try to speak without those, they must have had a very close relation after a while with the indigenous population. And yes, Scandinavian is the biggest influence on the English language up to the present day, although it may just be, 200 words or something like this, but these are everyday words, words you use in daily discourse. I mean, try to speak without those. You can very easily speak without, serendipity or prevaricate, but you can't speak without take and get. Try that. Yeah. So Scandinavian, yes, the biggest influence on the English language, which tells us that in contrast to what happened before the Celts, who were enslaved and driven away, that they must have lived closely together, those Anglo-Saxons and the Vikings. They were finally defeated in the south by Alfred the Great, and that was the so-called Danelaw. I mean, 878, usually given, that Alfred, the King of Wessex, Wessex, south of England, he defeated the Vikings and secured the south of England, Wessex, for him, but everything north of it went to the Scandinavians, and we call this the Danelaw. Yeah? If you look at that, the Danelaw here, everything north of a line of stretching from London to Chester, approximately, is Scandinavian. Yeah? The Danelaw, the law under, or the land under Danish law, south of it is Wessex, an English Mercia to some extent. So England divided more or less into two parts, okay, north and south, at the end of the 8th century. Well, this is the situation here. It will be united under a Scandinavian king only in the 11th century, okay, before William. Still time. I just want to have a digression here. What you see, King Alfred. King Alfred, who is still a national icon today for England, probably the biggest national icon, historical icon, constructing English identity. The word you can't read it through. The construction of national identities through invented national icons. So this is Alfred, all over England. We have something similar in France, Vercingetorix, or Vercingetorix, as the French say, or Arminius, Hermann, in German. I mean, all these, they were neither English nor French, nor German. I mean, nothing like that. Only from our present view, I mean, they are constructed as being founders of the nation. Okay, Alfred was a West Saxon king, certainly not English, although, nevertheless, I mean, his statue is all over England. Vercingetorix. He was a Gaul, speaking a Celtic language, not very French. And the same is true for Hermann, who was a Romanized warrior, Germanic warrior, but certainly not German. What I'm saying here is we have a tendency to misread. Is it a misreading? I don't know. But to interpret history in order to define nations today, because every nation wants to have a long, long history. And what better than go back to the Dark Ages or even to ancient times, like Vercingetorix or Hermann, in order to do that. And this is what you see here. Yeah. Those are statues, and you see when they were erected in the days of nation building. Alfred, this would be 1609, Vercingetorix, 1865. Hermann, you can't read here, it's 1875, when the German nation was founded. So what I want to say is, Alfred brought me to that, is that national icons invented, and you take those which are old in order to insinuate that your nation is owed, although it is, as in the case of Germany, just a couple of years. All right.